This is the Air Affordable Housing Trust Board meeting for Wednesday, July 30th, 2025. In accordance with Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023, suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, public bodies otherwise governed by the open meeting law are temporarily relieved from the requirement that meetings be held in public places, open and physically accessible to the public, so long as measures are taken to ensure public access to the body's deliberations through adequate alternative means. The meeting of the Air Affordable Housing Trust will be live on Zoom. The public may participate remotely by joining Zoom meeting ID number 818-0509-7403 or by calling 929-205-6099. For additional information about remote participation, please contact Alicia Hersey at ahersey@ayer.ma.us or 978-772-8220 extension 142 prior to the meeting.
Then we need
Okay.
to approve.
Can I interrupt for a minute?
Yep,
James has a prior engagement.
thank you. So Sean, could you chair this for us for right now?
If that's acceptable, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Everybody.
All right. So our first order of business then would be to approve the agenda. Any amendments or changes to the agenda as it was presented?
Nope, they look good to me.
None from me.
All right. Then I'll take a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Do we need to do like
All
a
right, yes.
roll
Roll
vote?
call. Yep, absolutely. All right. Bob,
Aye.
Pauline,
Aye.
Cindy,
Aye.
Pat,
Aye.
and well, this is from the trust here. Sorry, I'm just
Think
Just
just you.
that's it for the trust, right?
Yep, just you.
Okay. And then Sean, aye. All right. The next item up would be to approve the meeting minutes from June 25th, 2025, as they were presented. Any changes or edits?
An edit was sent out.
Yeah, they looked good to me.
Yeah.
All right, I'll take a motion to approve the meeting minutes from June 25th, 2025.
So
So
moved.
moved.
Seconded.
Second.
All right, Colleen, how do you vote?
Aye.
Bob, how do you vote?
Aye.
Cindy, how do you vote?
Aye.
And Pat, how do you vote?
Aye.
And the chair says aye. Aye. All right. Next up is on the agenda is the election of officers. Is there any nominations for our chair? Don't everybody jump. I am willing to do it if nominated. I'd be happy to chair.
I nominate
I
Sean.
nominate you to be chair.
Second.
Okay. I humbly accept the nomination. Colleen, how do you vote?
Aye.
Bob, how do you vote?
Aye.
Cindy, how do you vote?
Aye.
Pat, how do you vote?
Aye.
And I'll vote aye myself.
Thank you, Sean.
You're welcome. And then I don't see James here yet to see if because we need a vice chair. And then for clerk. Cindy, do you want to remain clerk, or I know you mentioned you might want to.
I'm done.
Anybody willing to be clerk?
Oh, I am willing to do it if nobody else is dying to.
I nominate Colleen Kreisner.
All right, I'll second.
You have to say my name right, though. It's Creaser.
Sorry.
I'll second that. All right, Bob, how do you vote?
Aye.
Cindy, how do you vote?
Aye.
Pat, how do you vote?
Aye. Bless you, Colleen.
Colleen, how do you vote?
Aye.
The chair says aye.
Just one quick question. Cindy, are
Yes.
you taking minutes today already, or do you need me to jump in and start?
I've got them so far, but I wasn't planning on it. I think Alicia's doing it, right?
I've got them so far
John,
too.
notes maybe?
Alicia's doing. Colleen, I would be happy to send you the template that I use if you want.
That would be great.
Okay.
Yes, and I will start jotting notes, and if you have notes on what we did already that you want to forward to me, I will include them.
Sure.
And if it's acceptable, unless anybody is dying to be vice chair, we could probably table that election for the next meeting.
Yeah, I think it'd be good to wait and see if James is willing to continue in the role and then make decisions after that.
Absolutely. I agree.
Or we might have another member.
Right. Yes. All right. Okay, then we'll move on to the next item, which is going to be the a review of the proposed Ayer Affordable Housing Trust funding request application. Alicia, I'll turn it over to you.
Oh, okay, so I sent everybody out a draft application that is very much like the CPC application. Thank you, Janet. There's some different input in it because it's related to the housing in particular. So there's requests like deed restrictions and well, let me pull it. Did we want to put it up on, or did everybody read it? Did people pull it out and read it?
Yeah, if you're able to put it up, that would be great.
Yeah, let me just go take a look. Hold on. Oh, sorry about this. Here we go. How do I share this? Wait a minute.
On the bottom of your screen, there should be a share button.
Okay, great.
Bottom of the Zoom.
Yep.
Right in the middle, it's green.
Thanks, Matt.
Ah, got it. Yeah. Do I have to click that before I go in to pull the file? Here, I'm gonna put the file on my desktop or
Yeah, that's my recommendation. Have the file open, and then when you share, it will
So-
come.
hold on just a moment. The application is very much, and I know everybody got a whole, well, I shared it with everybody, but they also got the application, which, the CPC application, which DCTA had filled out. So the changes in this application are directly related to requirements for deed restrictions and monitoring and, housing marketing. So when you market fair housing marketing laws, that sort of thing. So this was just because right now our money follows CPC money. It has to be used in CPC money under CPC money requirements, that it seemed that we should follow an application that was that also, oh, let me just try and share this. Ah, sorry. Okay. It's not happening the way. I can't read it, so. Okay, I'm having trouble sharing this. I am sorry. So the requirements are what we would require for any application for affordable housing, which is fair market policy, market housing policy, deed restriction policies, and term of affordability. And so we edit those into the application, but beyond that, it is very much like the CPC application, which we felt was the best route to go because that has already been vetted by the legal team, the town's legal team. We will send this out to the legal team, and if they want to change anything, we'll bring it to be amended by you. But we're trying to do this so we have something to give to the Devon's Crest Association so that they can fill it out and respond to that. So, but I wanted to bring it to you for a vote to move forward with it.
Any questions or discussion on the application as it was presented to us?
I just want to clarify, so, they're requesting $570,000 from either us or the CPC, or what exactly is the order of the disbursement of funds?
So can I answer that?
Absolutely.
So this is not this is just to approve a blank application format right now. Then when we start talking about the DCTA application, we can clarify that now too. They are asking for a total of 570,000 between both the trust and CPC.
And this application would, I mean, we're doing it now because of the Devon's Crest request, but this
Yes.
could be used for future projects as well.
Yes, so
And application.
we're just getting an application in place and we might change it along the way because we're going to send it off to the legal team. But it is the CPC application, which has been approved by the town legal team, other than a few more requirements of paperwork.
So what do you need from us?
Today we would be looking for any edits or changes that we'd like to see before they move it on to town council and present and give it to the Devon's Crest Tenants Association. So basically right now we'll be voting to approve this template.
Okay.
I have one question, but maybe now that I'm looking at it, I'm not sure if I really have the question anymore, but I'll say it anyway, just for us to keep in mind. So right now, all of the trust funds are from CPC. Presumably with the housing bylaw down the road, there may be trust funds that are not CPC funded, but we would still want the same sort of stipulations that we would have for CPC, or would that be something we would adjust down the road?
Good question.
I think it's something that we might adjust down the road, or we might even choose to have different types of applications for what they're looking for. But for the most part, we're looking to create housing. So our applications are not going to be that different. And in this one, and in creating housing, we're going to want it to have deed riders, making it affordable, what we call big A affordable. So I don't really see a lot of changes that would happen. I haven't looked into it to see, but if this is an approval by the committee, when we find changes that we need, we can make them.
Yep.
I like it. I think it's thorough, and I read through it, and so I say go.
I agree.
So I move to approve the template. Is that what the motion is supposed to be?
Yes.
Yep. And I will second that.
All right. Bob, how do you vote?
Yay.
Pauline, how do you vote?
Aye.
Cindy, how do you vote?
Aye.
And Pat, how do you vote?
Aye.
And chair says aye. All right, Alicia, template is approved.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
All right, so next item up on the agenda then is the update of the Air Affordable Housing Trust budget.
And I think I can share this. I'm getting better at this, I think. Hold on. I did put that on the desktop before we started, so let me just do a couple things. Here we go. Hold on. Just gonna move this over here. Now, okay, so. Now I've made my screen smaller so it doesn't have the share button. There it is. Okay. Do I just,
Did you push the share?
yes, okay, just a second, share.
All right. There you go.
I keep trying to move this into, okay, there we go. Oh, I know, I need to open it, then share my screen. Okay, hold on. There we go. Can you guys see this?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so this is, basically, I just wanted to give you an update on our budget. And non-committed funds is the 245,843 at the bottom. Okay, and it shows approximately where we are. Well, it shows pretty exactly where we are on right now. Does anybody have any questions about this?
Can I ask a quick question? What's the difference between the bank balance and the reserves? Is that because we've committed money to rental assistance that we haven't spent yet?
Yes, and we've also committed money to administration. So
Okay.
we've got $6,000 in there for administration, and we run on a program year, but our program year is basically about April to March. Okay, and we're in the program year for 2025, and so we've got commitments up through 2025. We just finished our program year for 2024 because sometimes somebody drops out and we have reserves because we didn't. You can see that for program year 2023, we had an additional $3,000 that didn't get spent. Okay, so that's back in the well, I actually keep that in rental assistance because that was approved for rental assistance. So if we do emergency funds or something like that, then we've got $3,000 there. So if somebody drops out of the program, 6 months into it, then I look at it, and if I have enough, then I'll start somebody for another year. But otherwise, I can only start them for, right now, I've only have 3,000, so that's half a year. That's half a year worth of rental assistance, and we can do that, or we can vote to use it as emergency, but you've already voted it into the rental assistance, so I'm holding that in the rental assistance program. So you're seeing what we spent in the different years. We still, 2024, I think we have just spent that. I haven't changed that number over. I think we just spent that this past month, all the 2024 rental assistance. So now that person's running into their 2025 grant. Any other questions?
And
So the reserves is what we have that is not committed.
okay. And as far as now, we're on track to spend our 2025 funds as they were allocated.
Yes, yes. And one of the things Yeah. One of the things we didn't put on this, we'll take care of that. It's not on the agenda. We didn't change the agenda, so we'll talk about that next time. So yes, we're on track. We have a full house of 12 grants and we're on track to spend that. If people if they move or drop out of the program for any reason, then it'll open up and I'll report that to you.
Okay.
So that just tells you,
Sorry. I
that
have,
just tells you where the money is right now.
can I ask another question about the reserves?
Yes.
In terms of this, like next year, and maybe you just answered it, the next year of rental assistance, how much money from that reserves do we kind of have to keep aside for the rental assistance program until we have our next CPC ask?
Well, that was the thing that I was going to say, we'll keep to next meeting, because in reality, we should be asking right now for a CPC request for the fall. If we're going to wait till the spring meeting, then technically, so we're going to be committing to people without money. 72,000 is what it takes for a program year for a rental assistance. So 72,000 is what we would need to, and if we're going to go to CPC in the fall versus the spring. Now, the town has never not approved ours, so we have in past history gone to the spring meeting and then just replenished things. So, and we do write our contracts with people that as long as the program is funded. So even though we would be committing to people and setting the program up, I don't anticipate, but 72,000 is the answer to your question.
I think also, just to keep in mind, then that also means if Devon's Crest is going to request a large chunk from CPC, and then the trust is going to request funding for our program.
Yeah.
There's going to be two large requests from CPC at one time.
Does Colleen know what housing money is at the trust right now? Colleen?
We don't, but Janet, I think, is on the meeting. So Janet, I don't know if you have those numbers, how much we have in the housing bucket.
I don't have an actual amount, but it's under, in the housing bucket's under 200,000. So, but we do have money within the undesignated reserves that we could go ahead and use. So even though it's not in the category, we can go ahead and move stuff into the category. Does that help?
I think so.
Yeah, there'd be money to take care of both requests.
Okay. Any other questions or discussion on the budget? Okay. All right. Not seeing or hearing any, then we can move on to the review of the funding request for the Devon's Crest Tenants Association. And this is a discussion and a vote to move the request to a public hearing. Alicia, do you have?
I would like to change that. So I was advised by the town manager's office today that we don't have to do a public hearing, we have to do a public input session. And that's because the trust has the right to vote their funding the way they want to do it, but we do need to reach out to the public and have public input.
Okay. So when we vote, we'll make sure we word it correctly.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, moving it on to a public input session means that, my idea for this was that we would move it on to a public input session for mid-September, giving us one more meeting to do due diligence giving time for DCTA to get in a few more documents that we can share at the next meeting, giving the trust a chance to talk about how they might consider this application and what they would like to, how much of it they want to fund and all that sort of thing. So, with the reserves that we have. So are there any I'll let you do this, Sean.
Yeah, no. Any first from the trust members, any comments, questions, or suggestions regarding the request for funding?
I have a question. It's Pat. I have a question, if I may.
Yes.
Has any consideration been given to attaching the funding to the voucher program? So give the funds per voucher. Does that make sense? To have that decided? Anybody?
Sure. Leisha, do you know if that's been?
Well, we've been talking to DCTA and they had two ideas about this. And one was to use funds. They would like to use funds for either renovating the 35 units for vouchers or possibly using funds to buy in additional units, buy down additional units so that they can add more than 35 to the 60%. They won't get vouchers, but that will subsidize them so that they can rent them at the 60% AMI level versus the 80% AMI level. So that's two competing ideas, and that's some of the stuff that the board would need to talk about what they think is in the best interest of the board and the town, and that's why we're doing the due diligence.
Do we have any idea how many additional units and how long would it subsidize them for?
For the 35, how long is the 35 subsidized for?
If we were to, instead of agreeing to the $5,000 per unit of the 35, if we were to agree to the same amount to help buy down additional units to add to the 35, how many units would that be? And how long would they be subsidized for at the 60%?
They wouldn't really be subsidized. So at 60%, what you have to do is you have to qualify the tenants that they've reached that they're in the 60% AMI target area. And then you rent at the 60% target area rental requirements for the state. And does Rick, do you want to answer that a little bit?
Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you, Madam Chairperson. Thank you. Great question. And we're sort of thinking less directly what you're saying, which is a subsidy to buy down the rent for somebody who, so as we sit here today, the commitment is going to be for 35 units to be rented to folks who make at or below 60% of AMI. And our agreement with the state, subject to being finalized, is that those 35 folks will get MRVPs. So the MRVPs will be project-based. They will live with those units, no matter who's living there. If people leave, subsidy stays. I think what we're all saying in different ways is, to the extent, and then the rest of the units will be capped at 30 of 80 and maximum income for admission, 80% of AMI. And I think that what we're all sort of suggesting in different ways is, if we wanted another 60% unit, what would it cost to get a 36th 60% unit that would not have an MRVP? So we'd admit somebody who earns 60% or less. They would pay 30% of their income for rent including utilities, by the way, I think is how it will work. Because I know it does for the voucher. So I got to think this through. So don't necessarily quote me on this, but 30% of their income toward rent. And the sinking fund, right? The what you guys would commit to, what we'd use your funds is to do a sinking fund that so every month the new resident would pay 30 of 60, and then we'd get a check from that fund to bring us up to the lesser of market or 30 of 80. So I just, and again, I'm trying to be as precise as I can be and as clear as I can be, but I may be clear as mud. So feel free to ask away.
Colleen?
Yeah, so in terms of that, what happens if that fund drains down, right? Because if we're using CPC funds to do something like that, that unit has to remain an affordable unit for 99 years in perpetuity. So
great question.
Yeah, so I guess that's one. I have a couple of questions, but I'll start with that one.
Okay, so, and I was thinking about this. So this deal is really unique in that it's a true public-private partnership. It's true that we're getting 35 MRVPs from the state. It's true that we're getting $10.8 million in soft debt from the state. But we're also getting a conventional mortgage of somewhere around $15 million. And we've got an equity provider, right? They happen to be nonprofit, but they have return hurdles. And they're writing a check for $15 million. And they're double bottom line, right? So they're needing to balance. And they'll take a lower return. In fact, the return that they're taking is beyond what I've ever seen as far as how low it is, because they're willing to take a hit on their return to provide affordability. What we've talked about internally, because we recognize that the worst thing in the world would be to bring somebody in at 60% and you know, when the money runs out, tell them, sorry, your rent's going to market. And we're very cognizant of that. And the way that we've thought about it is that any unit, additional unit beyond the 35 that got deed restricted, we would need to set aside 30 years worth of that subsidy. And we've been trying to figure out what the monthly subsidy is, and it moves around and it depends on the unit size, but it's somewhere, round numbers, I think we think it's somewhere, and do not quote me on this either because it's changing, but 80 or 90,000 a unit is what's needed to be in the bank in order for the folks who are writing the $15 million equity check to be comfortable. Because if we have an unfunded or semi-funded mandate, right? So we have a situation where they're committing, the owner commits for 99 years to lower rents without matching the liability with the asset. It detracts from the value of the property and will take the equity below their already low hurdle rate. So the answer is, the way we're thinking about it is that whatever we deed restrict above the 35 is going to have a solid sinking fund so that we don't have to disrupt somebody's life down the road.
Okay. Does that answer your, Colleen?
It does. And then I have a second question of what happens if CPC doesn't approve the request. So affordable housing gives money to buy down additional units. What happens if CPC doesn't approve their request? Is it better for the money to start going towards the renovation of the 35 voucher units and then think elsewhere?
So the state is committing 10.8 million and 35 vouchers. And typically, and the state has not made a specific ask of the development team and DCTA. But typically, whenever the state is going to commit those kinds of resources to a project, a sort of cost of entry is a strong showing of town support. And I've tried in the past, when I've been working with towns that weren't that interested in affordable housing, to get away with just a letter saying how wonderful we are. But that does not tend to fly. So, it's critical, I think, to be able to leverage the state funds, that there be some level of financial commitment on the part of the town. And, we came up with a number that we thought, relative to the size and scale and scope of the project, was reasonable. And obviously, you're the ones who decide if it's reasonable. And then we understood, I can't recall exactly why we are bifurcating it between the trust and the CPC I think part of it. Go ahead.
I think it was because the trust has access to the funds now, where CPC requires town meeting.
I think that's absolutely right. And we wanted to be able to walk into the state and say, we've got an absolutely hard commitment of X from the town, but by the way, we're on the warrant for an additional Y, but you're going to have to wait. Thank you. So that was the whole sort of plan of it all.
Right.
And we are right now, as we sit here today, I am working really hard with DCTA and the whole team to get to a closing on Halloween. It's unclear to me if we'll hit that date. We've got some runway after that before the deal blows up. But that's where I'm hopeful we'll be able to get the debt ready to go, the equity ready to go. And I think what's going to end up being critical path is the state, because they work in strange and mysterious ways.
Yeah, and I think when I was asking my question, I was more thinking less about CPC and their likelihood of approval, and thinking more about town meeting and whether the town would buy in, and if that would be a potential stumbling block. But it sounds like the state funds are not necessarily dependent upon that second piece of funding, but it would be desired. Did I hear you correctly in that?
I think we absolutely could use as much as we can get, just sort of forgetting about the optics of it, right? So the optics are, we need a town financial commitment, but the reality of it is we will put that money to good use. So, as much as we can get, we will put to good use for the benefit of the residents. So I think that's the answer.
So it sounds, if we're looking at 175,000, that would be the 5,000 per unit at 35 units. The reality would be that it would not even guarantee 2 additional units if we were to put it into a sinking fund, correct? Okay.
And again, we're sharpening our pencils, and there are some models circulating among our group that suggest that I may be wrong, and that it may actually be a lot cheaper. I haven't been convinced yet, so I'm being conservative here. I don't want to oversell and underdeliver.
Yeah, appreciate that. Colleen, did you have another question, or?
No, I think I'm good for now.
Okay. Bob or Cindy or Pat, did you have any questions about the funding aspect?
None.
No, my questions were all just answered. Thank you.
Mine as well, thank you.
I also feel like my questions in terms of the funding have been answered. So how are board members, trust members feeling in terms of moving this forward to a public information session?
I think it's time. I think I'm in favor of it.
Yeah, I don't want to delay this anymore. I mean, I wanted to get the questions answered, but I don't want to delay it anymore. We want to make sure that we get all this done without last second scrambling having to be done, by the association or by us.
Would we be in agreement that perhaps for a public input session, we'd like them to be able to present both options? Or do we feel like as a trust, we need to decide one or the other, whether we want to do 5,000 per unit as a renovation or try and buy down additional units?
So my personal opinion is, I think that I would lean towards the 5,000 for the 35 units. Being as ours is the more like the first step in the funding with the right, stipulations and contingencies and whatever grant agreements we put up, we know that that is a guarantee. And I feel like presenting two options for public input may muddy the waters in terms of getting real feedback. But if others feel differently, I'm okay with presenting two options. In what I've heard tonight, I'm leaning more towards being in favor of the money for the 35 units. And then, if there's can be buy-in with the second funding proposal for additional units, that's great, but feels a little too iffy for me for this funding request. That's just my take.
I would agree with you, Colleen, and also we will get a sort of sense from the public input as to whether, at that point, as to whether we should consider, buying down some additional units.
Can I just ask, is the 5,000 for the 35 units, is that going to be attached to the voucher units, the program for the vouchers? So each voucher is 5,000.
Yes.
So as the vouchers come, that's how that's going to
We already
work.
felt that.
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I understood that.
And if I can take just a minute, so that the process right now, we got 3 vacant units. And the day that we close, our contractor will come in and rehabilitate those 3 units. We will then take the first 3 families, move them into those renovated units temporarily, rehab the family's units, move them back. When we move them back, they will be living in beautiful rehab units and they will get their MRVP. So until the second the MRVP hits, they will continue to pay exactly what they're paying. And then the MRVP will hit when we move them back. And we're just going to rinse and repeat. Our goal, because if anybody does math, that's a long construction schedule. And it's bad for everybody. So our goal is to see if we can get some more natural vacancy. So if we ended up with 6 vacant units, we could do it all in half the time. And it's better for everybody. It's better for the residents. It's better for the investor. It's better for the deal to carry 3 vacancies and get the people back in, 3 extra vacancies and get the people back in quicker than to just plod along 3 units at a time. So it's going to be dynamic, but we've got a plan. And, my team has done this a dozen times. We're doing it as we speak on 2 properties, one in Worcester and one in Boston, in Nubian Square. So, we know how to do this. Our contractor's very good at it. We try to minimize the disruption in people's lives. All of that. but that's the program. So that's how the construction will go.
Okay, Rick, I have a question about that, and because
Yep.
this is confusing to me, and maybe I'm just naive, but why am I moving a family out of a, let's say, a 2-bedroom unit, okay, into a new 2-bedroom unit that's already done,
And moving them
and
back.
moving them back? It doesn't make sense to me. What do you have to change? Your address stickers? I don't get it.
Great question.
It seems
So-
like it's a waste of money, and I don't know if I'm
Yes.
just being naive.
No. Typically, this is this is how it typically goes. But we've made it clear with DCTA that anybody who wants to not move back, we're happy to accommodate that. It's better for us. It's better for them. I think Denise has told us she loves her unit and she's going back come hell or high water. Right, Denise? But everybody will have that option. It's whatever makes the tenant happier. Great
Wow.
question.
Okay.
So can I ask another follow-up question? Sorry to keep asking questions. So if we are essentially doing 3 units at a time, then the trust funds would be distributed kind of 3 units at a time? Is that
That would be fine as long as it's submitted. We would completely accommodate whatever you need to do.
I think that would be one of our contingencies. Yeah.
And look, you'll come in. We welcome you to inspect the unit. Remember, it's going to go through the state's MRDP inspection, which is strict. So and we've worked with this contractor for 25 years, and they will do great work. I have no doubt at all.
Okay. Any other questions? Alicia? You're on mute.
This is a good start of a conversation, and I think that, first we need to vote, but we also need to understand that we're doing some due diligence here, so people should be writing down questions, thinking about it, and keep moving along so that we can move this process along. So just a comment.
I have one more question. When somebody moves out of these units that we'll say temporary housing, any damages, any cleaning, all that stuff has to be accommodated as well, right? So it has to be cleaned and maybe paid.
100%.
Whatever.
100%.
Yeah, it just seems like we're spending good money after bad. I don't know. I'm just concerned. That's all.
I'm with you, but lots of folks. What we found doing this over time is, lots of folks like Denise are attached to their home, and they'd rather just vacate for a little bit and then come back.
I have an N unit, so why would I want to move into a unit that's in the middle somewhere? And I like where I'm living. I have been gardening in my yard since 2017. Put blood, sweat, and tears in my yard. And I have a shed. I don't want to move into another unit that doesn't accommodate what I already have.
Understood.
And do you guys know how much of a pain it is to change your address? Come on.
I also like my neighbors where I am.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
But hey guys, I'm Liz. So I'm on the other side. When I move out of my unit, I'm not going back.
Okay.
I'm going to save Rick some money. So I'm out and I'm out. So
Good to know that we have a mix
Liz,
have
come
one.
on, Willie.
of opinions. Absolutely. Okay. If there's no other questions about the funding or questions on that aspect, I wanted to give everybody a chance to say it, but I also agree that I think the putting forward the plan of $5,000 per unit as the sole plan for the information public input session is probably the best way to go. So if there's no other questions, I will take a motion to go ahead and move forward with planning a public input session. Oh, Pat, sorry.
No, I agree. I totally, but I have to love you and leave you. So I'm sorry. I got to run.
We got to get
Okay.
to vote first.
Okay.
Yeah.
I vote yes to go to a public session.
Hold on. I need to take a motion.
I have a motion to take this to a public session.
Okay, second it.
I'll second.
Okay. Pat, how do you vote?
Sean, Denise has had her hand up before the motion, so I
Oh,
don't
sorry,
know if
Denise,
we
you
need to
need-
take her
Absolutely.
question or whether we can vote and then, or at least record Pat's vote before she goes.
Yeah.
Should I talk?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, Denise Peralt, 181 Willard Street. So I just wanted to clarify the trust fund versus the trust fund is not having to get permission from the town. Do I understand that clearly or no?
So we have, as a trust, we have the ability to spend our funds.
Mhm.
So we don't need, we've already gotten town meeting approval.
Right.
So we just need to do a public input session.
Oh, okay.
Whereas the CPC needs to still go to town meeting.
Okay, so the one that you're going to do is relevant to the trust fund and doing the
Yes.
info? Oh, okay. I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you, Sean.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Pat, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Okay. Bob, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Cindy, how do you vote?
Aye.
And Pauline, how do you vote?
Aye.
And the chair says aye. All right. Thank you, Pat.
Thanks, everyone. I appreciate it.
Bye, Pat.
All right. So if we could go ahead and so then if for our next meeting, which would be August 27th. Is that correct, Alicia?
Yeah, how are people on August 27th? That's the last week in August, and I have to tell you, lots of people are gone that week.
Okay.
Do we need to have a meeting that time in order to make sure that this gets through in time, or have we done what we need to do?
No, we need to actually, we have to get all the contingencies and the deed restriction worked out and all that sort of thing. So that's what we're going to be doing for the next month. We'll bring it to the board, and then the board will form what the public input session will be and what we're presenting at the public input session. We'll then vote on whether we're going to, and I'm going to suggest a public input session of September 10th. So this is a due diligence period to the 27th, and then September 10th would be the public input session and a vote.
If August 27th doesn't work, is there another day at the end of August or the first Wednesday in September? I can be open to whatever's going to work so we can get this to the public input.
First Wednesday of September is the CPC meeting, and I'm assuming probably the public hearing for that.
Yeah.
The last Wednesday of August is fine with me. My kids start back to school that week, so we're not going anywhere.
Okay.
But I'm a pretty open any day, so if that, I'm up for a different time, but just not the CPC meeting day.
No, the CPC is September 3rd.
Yeah. So, Cindy, any?
No,
issues?
I'm good with the 7th. I'd also be good with the 20th, although there might be another meeting that's already planned. So my feeling is we should stick with the 27th. Because it's our night.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
hopefully nothing else is planned for that.
Right.
As long as everybody else is around.
Sure.
I'm around.
All right, Bob?
I will have a limited time that evening, probably about a half an hour that I would be able to spend, but I could do it for at least a half an hour.
Okay. Is there, Alicia, are people available if we were to move it up to 6 instead of 6:15 that day?
I think Jeff was the one who was the problem with the getting here by 6 o'clock, wasn't he?
I think you might be right. Yeah.
So we could do 6.
Yeah.
Do you want to do 6 then?
Yeah. If that's,
Okay.
Bob, is that, and Colleen?
Yes, 6 works great for that meeting. Once
Okay.
I'm back to work, 6 cuts it a little close for
Yeah,
me. I
okay.
think for that meeting, an earlier start would be
So
great.
what you want to plan the public input for? Do you want to plan it for 6 or 6:15?
Let's do 6:15. Colleen,
Okay.
back to work. Yeah, so,
Oh, I could do 6 if we want to try
Okay.
to start earlier, if that's better
September,
for Bob.
for September 10th, though?
Oh, for September 10th.
So for our next meeting on the 27th, if we can plan for 6, that will give Bob a little bit extra time. And then for the public input, we'll do 6:15. Does that
Okay.
sound fair?
That's great.
Yep.
Okay.
And that would be a live meeting, a Zoom meeting,
September will be, I mean, August will be a Zoom meeting.
right?
I might be Zooming from Maine.
Yeah.
Right. But September 10th would be a live meeting, I would take it.
I think it should be.
I think we could do a hybrid, but we will do a live.
Okay.
And then Alicia, do we know if that date's available?
No, but I'm gonna double check it. I did float it with Robert, but that's not Carly, so I need to check it with Carly.
Okay. We'll make it work.
So
Yes.
just to reiterate, we said we're going to try for August the 27th at 6 o'clock Zoom,
Yes.
and September the 10th live 6:15 or hybrid, but 6.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think that we should all make an effort to be live.
Yep.
And then for August 27th, we will have all of our contingencies and stipulations on how we'll approve the funding and what will be used for.
Okay.
Okay. All right. If there's no other questions on the funding or the public input meeting, move on to question and comment period, which we may have covered it. Janet.
I don't know where my hand went. I just want to make sure that you were aware that Jonathan Krantz is now the new planning board member to this committee. And
Oh,
and with that, hopefully he will know about August 27th meeting for sure.
Well,
That's
he
what I just-
knew about this one too, but I don't know where he is. I tried to call him today.
Okay.
So-
All
All right. So that's all. But thank you.
Thanks, Jan. All right, if there's no other questions or comments, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right.
Second.
All right. Bob, how do you vote?
Yay.
Colleen, how do you vote?
Aye.
Cindy, how do you vote?
aye.
Chair says aye, and we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.